Good morning, guys. My name is Phil. Welcome back to Miranda Detailing. In today's episode, we're working on this cute little 76 Triumph Spitfire. Yeah, that's right, I said cute. So we're working on the Spitfire, and you already saw how we did some of the engine degreasing under there. I'll show you how far we were able to go on that. But basically, this car needs a little bit of a spruce up. This is not going to be any type of restoration type of detail. We're not that type of a detail shop. However, what we can do is clean it and at least gloss it up, help the paint a little bit, help the chromes, clean up the wheels and the tires, and a few of the things that we can actually work on this vehicle without going too far. There's a lot of corrosion, there's a lot of sensitive areas that we have to be careful with. So the products that we're going to be using today, a lot of them are coming from the AM Detail range. So we just did a test spot using AM Glaze. Now, this stuff is a paint cleaner and glaze. That term glaze in the detailing community gets a bad rap because all people think about when they hear glaze is fillers. It just covers up, and when you wash it, it goes away. No, that's not necessarily the point. There are products that have some fillers. Pretty much everything has some sort of a filler to a very minimal degree. Even if they say no fillers, there's something in it. There's always a polymer or something that does actually fill to the slightest degree. But when you wipe it off and maybe let it sit for a couple of minutes or a couple of hours, any of those little polymers will actually evaporate out and it'll be fine. But what this glaze is a paint cleanser, and it kind of preps the paint for any type of protection. However, for single stage paint, it does wonders. Guys, if you're enjoying the videos, and I hope you are, consider subscribing and clicking that bell so you don't miss stuff. So what we're doing is using the lithium waterless wash, and we could have chosen any type of waterless or rinseless wash, doesn't really matter, because basically we're just cleaning the surface of the paint just to get light dust off and prep it for some polishing. Now when it comes to polishing, I did some readings on here already, and it's very thick. It's reading 8 to 10, 11 mils. However, the condition of the paint itself, even though it's thick, it's single stage, I don't want to go overboard. So we're not going to be doing paint correction on it. We're going to be doing enhancement and going as far as we need to go without going full-blown wet sanding, color sanding, all that stuff. You can see it already has some staining here. I don't know what that's from. So it could be burned through, I really don't know, or chemical staining. You can see it here in the edges. So that's why we have to tread lightly. Another big spot there. I really can't go crazy wet sanding, compounding, doing all that stuff. We're not doing that to this vehicle. You can see there's rust spots there, there's some corrosion. What we're gonna do is gloss it up, make it look richer at least. I don't know about necessarily glossy because of the nature of the paint, but let's see what we can do.
Oh, it's not all tar, it's corrosion.
I don't know. Actually, I think that's just residue. That'll come off. So it's like the swirliness I can't do anything about.
Oh my goodness, though. Look at the difference. That looks amazing.
Yeah, that actually looks pretty good. Yeah, we're not going to go for swirl. We're going to go for gloss. That is AM Seal. AM Glaze.
So it's filling it in. Oh no.
Yeah, they don't understand that's not what a glaze necessarily is.
That's terrible.
It's all these forums that given people incorrect information.
You're a heck.
So we just did this little test spot here, and I was trying a bunch of other compounds and a microfiber pad and thinking, maybe that can cut through some of the dead paint and oxidation, but that's not what we're shooting for here. You can see how oxidized the paint is and how dead it is, and you can see those heavy swirls, but we're not attacking the swirls. That would really need more restoration. It would need wet sanding, or what some people would call color sanding for single stage. It's called color sanding because when you wet sand, the color comes off. It's just a term. But here is actually the results that we're going to shoot for over the entire vehicle, and that's what we communicated with the customer. We're not shooting for complete paint restoration here because that's not really reasonable. So what we're doing is cleaning it up and glossing it up a little bit. Again, it's not completely clear, but it's much better than that, right? Imagine the whole vehicle looking like that. So the customer will be very happy with that. So AM glaze is excellent for single stage paint. Of course, it can be used for any type of paint. It's great as a prep for paint waxes or sealants, and it gives a lot of gloss on the paint. You can see that it has, you know, oils in it and everything that kind of enrichen the paint and bring out the depth and some of the gloss. Of course, this paint is, you know, it needs a lot more than that. But let's work with that today because that's actually working out really well. We're not doing anything in the interior, exterior only, but the chrome out here also we're going to hit with some chrome and metal polish, so we'll show you that process as well. So the orange foam pad seems to be working really well. Now once again, even though you saw that the paint readings are very healthy, 13 mils or so, again, I don't know the nature of the paint. You see some staining here in the paint. And yes, if this was going to a restoration shop, they would most likely wet sand it and go through all the stages and probably, you know, bring the paint back. But that, you know, that's not what we're doing here. We're not a restoration shop. We don't do wet sanding, color sanding, all of that stuff. And that's not really what the customer wants to pay for anyway. So always go by what the customer wants and their budget. So the budget here is to do exactly what we're doing here, and you're going to see the results at the end.
Cleaning up?
I mean, it's taken away the rust, but the corrosion is still there. I can't get rid of that. Like it ate through stuff, so.
Oh wow. That's really good back here.
Not bad. So the Triumph is coming along. As you can see, the paint actually looks pretty decent. Don't look too close though, but from a distance here, actually looks pretty decent. We're using AM trim. We actually just have an old bottle there, that's why it looks like that. But we're using that for all of the trim and the plastics to brighten them up and or to darken them, I should say, and make them look really nice. So yeah, they look really nice. The trim around here, we still have to do the glass here, inside and out. But the chrome is polished up and looking pretty decent. There's a lot of pitting, lots of corrosion. Again, don't look too closely. Can't do anything about the exhaust pipe. It's like completely rusted out. Can't do anything about that. But the rest of it, yeah, I mean, it's looking pretty good. The paint looks, you know, even. Oh, you know what? I have to polish that and that with the chrome polish. And I was switching back and forth between the AM metal polish and the Renegade products. you know, depending on what type of corrosion I'm dealing with, sometimes I had to switch it up. All the little handles here were polished. They actually look okay, but again, lots of pitting, lots of corrosion. Don't look too closely. From a distance, not bad, right? I'm going to polish those little areas on the trunk. And here you can have, you know, here you can see heavy, heavy rust corrosion that's eaten through. But overall, not bad.
They took a brother bag to everything.
Mm-hmm.
This wouldn't do anything. Like, look, it's hanging off.
Yeah, I know.
I don't think they're the right size.
No, probably not. So last thing to do is just the tires. Now I know this is a little bit different than what we usually do, but AM Dress, you can spray it on. We're gonna just let it dwell, let it soak in, and then we'll wipe it down. But it's a good way to kind of hydrate the rubber tires and let that kind of soak in. We're pretty much done here. That was just the last thing. We just cleaned up the glass and it's looking pretty decent. We just wiped down the door jambs as well. I'm going to pop the hood in a moment and show you what it looks like on the inside, but not bad. That's as far as we're going. You can see there's a lot of blemishes in the paint already. Yeah, there's rust spots, there's all sorts of stuff. It kind of adds to the beauty and the character of this vehicle. So I kind of like it looking like this because it is kind of showing its age, but it still looks pretty decent. So not bad. Back here is the worst, but at least it looks richer and darker. So guys, that's going to do it for today's episode. I hope you enjoyed it. If you have any questions or comments, let me know down below. As usual, any of the products, like the AM Details products that we use today, will be linked down below. And use code Miranda10 at Car Supplies Warehouse, and you'll get 10% off. Don't forget to subscribe and click that bell so you don't miss stuff. And we'll see you guys in the next one. Have a great week. Take care.